What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's games as well as where we stand on our sequences, and for all the rigged people that say, or people that say that this isn't rigged. I told you so. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, if you guys need any more proof, the Eagles, weren't they 11-point favorites? Funny, they lose by exactly 11. Now, I find it interesting. This game, of course, I'll take it any day of the week. We had Washington, and a lot of the narratives that I believed were being spewed by the talking heads, in this case Buck and Aikman, how the worst team is now 5-5, which is better than most of the teams in the NFC. How nobody was expecting the Eagles to lose, especially at home. And during the game, here's a little bit of alpha. I put this out on my Discord. So if you're in my Discord, a lot of times some people are able to make some live bets and optimize their profits. The second they started talking about how the Commanders had a very healthy advantage as far as time of possession, I knew they were going to win. They started this narrative back early in the first half, and they will do this. This is a trend that almost never gets broken. When they talk about a team and their time of possession, yeah, the turnovers matter, the penalties matter, but when they talk about time of possession and then third down efficiency, and even though you can see from a percentage standpoint they're about even, they were acting like the Commanders were way more efficient on third down. They just had more third downs. But when you notice them focusing on time of possession, you can almost guarantee that the team that they're saying has that advantage is going to win. So we got that one. Again, if I said a couple weeks ago when they were playing the Texans and then the Commanders back-to-back, especially with the Commanders being on the road, I just really thought there was a good chance for an upset there. It just makes sense. Now the Commanders are in the division. And now I'm wondering, with 7 seeds in the playoffs, do they do a first ever? Do they have every team in the division make the playoffs? I think they might be going down that road. It would be interesting, and I think it would be pretty cool. But, yeah, that game, the late hit at the end, and then if you noticed, they happened to have him at midfield sulking by himself, just so the cameras can all catch him, pondering his mistake. It's like WWE. But, yeah, so we'll take that all day. And we had a really good night with NBA. I don't want to jinx us, but I think it's fair to say we got the Warriors +7 or -7.5, which the only loss, well, we had a couple. We had the Heat -2, so that one wasn't fun. You never like losing, by 1. Could have had the money line, but over time, I like to play the spreads just because of the odds. And you see the Thunder Celtics, they went over, so they're continuing to go over. So I'll probably fade them again. But we were able to get the Pistons by half a point. That was nice. We got in at 4.5. And, of course, it came down to just 4. Again, not a coincidence. That's just to fade everyone that picked the Raptors, which was a good bit of people. And then we had the Clippers over finally came through. I figured it wouldn't be that long. And I think we're starting to see this narrative develop where they're not going to be able to do it with just Giannis. It's just, yeah, they have some role players here, but with just Giannis, they were just getting overwhelmed. So I think that's going to continue. And they want to push, like I said, they want to push Trey as a legitimate superstar. How do you do that? You beat Giannis in Milwaukee. That's really all you got to do. And he's beaten him twice now. So it's a good, I think it's going forward, Hawks are a good team we can pick. Because they're another one from last year that people don't have as an elite team. So when they're playing teams like the Heat and the Celtics, they're going to get favorable odds. So that was a nice one. And to top it off, we had this one, which, like I said, the Warriors have not been great against the spread. That usually doesn't hold. It moved to 8.5, but I got in at 7.5. But I just don't see. They're going to start them off not great, but they're going to show that the Warriors on any given day can beat whoever they want. So they had to have a good home performance, in my opinion, and this was a good game to do it, where they're giving up enough points where people are probably going to go with the Spurs. So as you can see, we had a really good night. I'm going to wait, of course. I don't like to get premature. This was our loss, and then it was really our only loss because while we did lose You got the Commanders. While we did lose the Heat game, like I said when I was picking the Warriors game earlier in my last video, when you have like a 7 o'clock game then a 10, you can always, if the one's not looking great or if the one ends early, you can always go ahead and just lock in the second leg. So that's what I did with the Warriors, and they were the only late game that I have, so I couldn't do any with the Celtics. But so that's our only outstanding sequence. So like I said, a really good day. And tomorrow, when I like when there's not a bunch of games, because they usually tell stories with the games that there are. So I expect a lot of stories in this game. Luka wants his revenge on the Clippers. He's at home. Giving up 7, I think a lot of people are going to fade that 7. I'm almost positive Dallas wins, just because they need to, again, give Luka his revenge, his first game at home. The question is, do they cover? And for the same reason Golden State covered, I am leaning towards yes. So, of the games tomorrow, that one I like the most already. But there's a couple nice ones. This one you can call a coin flip. I like to look at how many, they played 4 times this year, so you can expect whatever happens this game, maybe the opposite next, or at least for it to balance out. So I'm going to look into the injuries, see exactly who's out, and there's really nobody that I'm loving. There's no spread yet. So say the Pelicans or this one's pretty close to even in my opinion. So if there's one team giving a lot of points, I'm probably going to take that team, because to me that would just scream trap, as that should be an even game. And I'm going to look into the others as well. I want to see what's going on with the Nets, who's Seth is playing, all these different players. We see Ben Simmons is day-to-day now, which makes a huge difference. And like I said, as long as Kyrie is out, I do think they look pretty good. So to be getting 2 in Sacramento, a lot might call that a trap. But again, most are thinking with the mindset they don't have Kyrie, that's a bad thing. We're thinking with the mindset they don't have Kyrie, so they're going to do well. So we'll look into the games. I love the Blazers. Here's where it gets tough. They're 10-2 against the spread this year, which I knew they would be good, but again, those trends don't continue. So after the Spurs, it looks like tough loss tonight. I think there's a good chance they cover the spread here against the Blazers, maybe even bounce back with a win. But we'll have to look at that. I don't like fading the Blazers because they were my team at the beginning of the year that I picked. But that's really all I have. I'm looking into football and stuff college because, again, this is the last week, meaning we're going to have a lot of stories being told, and I like a lot of the games. But yeah, here again is like, for me, there's people that will come on, and not a lot, but I'd say 1 in every 30 will come on and say, oh, no, the Eagles are going to win because it's fair and it's not rigged. Or they'll even have the audacity to come on and say, oh, no, the Commanders just won because the Eagles played sloppy. They won't admit that receivers were falling down when they were, Hurts was about to throw him up a pass. They just fell down, so they either dropped it or couldn't get to the ball. The fumbles were obvious. Hurts was just, he went from, again, Madden-type running to not being able to move out of the pocket. They made the Washington's lateral defense look like the 2,000 bucks. So, if both kicks, this kicker who has a career high of 55 ties it and then breaks it in the same game with what looked like to be a slider on the first kick. And again, I'll take it all day. We won the game. It's just, it does baffle me sometimes when people will still say it's not rigged when you get games like that. But like I said, we'll take it all day. I think the Commanders are going to be a team to watch going forward. As I said, tomorrow is probably going to be my official second half playoff predictions. And if we look at the schedule, there's a good chance they get in. I mean, they just need 1 or 2 upsets, and they're in. And I think having the NFC Beast, which they keep referring them to, all teams in that division in the playoffs would be a very interesting first time ever. So we'll have to see what happens. But if there's a division, it would be that one. You got Washington, Philly, America's team, and you got the Giants. I think if there's any one division that you would do it with, it would be that division. Just my opinion. And I think that's why they're making the AFC East pretty strong. Outside of the Patriots, those teams all have wicked draws. So, and even the Patriots still have a following. But I am curious. I'm liking the NFC East all making the playoffs narrative. You guys can let me know what you think of that. But I'll have the video, that whole video out tomorrow. But yeah, I just wanted to go over everything. So our only open sequence now is going to be the Celtics under. So I'll probably just wait for the next time that they play and pick the under again. Or we're going to take the Miami to cover on a leg 2, because now I love them to cover even more because they're 2-11, and again, that just doesn't hold. Maybe for a team like the Lakers, but the Heat aren't going to be at 10-15% against the spread a quarter of the way through the season. So that's turning around pretty soon, and I think in their next game it will. So hopefully, I know a lot of people in the Discord are stoked. We had a really good day. I'm going to attach the link because, like I said, with certain things like the time of possession, to me that was a dead giveaway, and people were able to make some live bets on that. And just when the announcers bring up stuff over and over, as they did with the Commanders and how they were playing differently, and they just set the narrative. That I'm able to post in the Discord, obviously a lot easier than I can do YouTube community posts, but that's about it. So I will be going live pretty soon. But again, that's another thing we can do in the Discord. So I think we can get a lot of think tanking going. We already do have a lot, but I'll attach the link, and I think we can have some fun in there. And like I said, we had a really nice day. And as I told you guys, the 4.5, the Pistons plus 4.5, the reason we got that was because Heat in my Discord told me, that he thought it was a trap game. He went into 2 reasons why. He gets numbers from a pretty reliable source, and we both agreed it was a good game. So I'm happy I made it. There's a lot of people that bring things to my attention that I really wasn't thinking of, and conversely, I'm able to get information out to people immediately. So yeah, no pressure. I don't gain anything from it, but I do think if we can continue the movement and in live time try and get together and see what's going on, it will really be cool. So I'm happy for everyone that did well. If we picked these sequences, then you did really well tonight. It's obviously never about one night, but we're coming. We had a really strong start. We don't have many open sequences, and that's always the goal. If we can close more than half our sequences, that's the math I like. So we split the over-unders. I'm perfectly fine with that. We'll get that back. And you can see basketball is very profitable. There's a lot of games, and we can pick our spot a little more. And just being modest, make a couple hundred each night. So looking like the Warriors close it out for us. Don't want to jinx it, but it'd be pretty weird if they didn't. I don't think the Spurs score enough points. Even if the Warriors didn't score a point this quarter, I don't think the Spurs score enough points to cover. Maybe they would just, but you get my point. We're safe here. This is all going to be about live betting going forward and maybe the over-under. But yeah, so I'll have my playoff. I think you'll like my playoff video because it's going to entail a lot. And as I said, soon I'm going to have charts, and I'll be using my computer. And I think that'll be a lot better too. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.